हरे कृष्णा माता जी। हरे कृष्णा डियर डिवोटीज, धन्यवाद प्रणाम। जय श्री प्रभु। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Hey, time for our Vandanam prayers. Mataji, would you like to sing today? Aarti Mataji, would you like to try singing? Or you would like to read the translation?
I can read the translation, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Hare Krishna. So we recite verses 51 to 60 of Shri Govinda Damodar Stotram by Shri Mangal Thakur ki jai. त्वाम् एव याचे मम देहि जिह्वे समागते दण्डधरे कृतान्ते वक्तव्यमेवं मधुरं सुभक्त्या गोविन्द दामोदरमाधवेति भजस्व मन्त्रं भवबन्धमुक्त्यै जिह्वे रसज्ञे सुलभं मनोज्ञम् द्वैपायनाद्यैर्मुनिभिः प्रजप्तं गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति गोपालवंशीधररूपसिन्धो लोकेशनारायणदीनबन्धो उच्चस्वरैस्त्वं वद सर्वदैव गोविन्ददामोदरमाधवेति जिह्वे सदैव भज सुन्दराणि नामानि कृष्णस्य मनोहराणि समस्तभक्तार्तिविनश्यनानि गोविन्द दामोदरमाधवेति गोविन्द गोविन्द हरे मुरारे गोविन्द गोविन्द मुकुन्द कृष्ण गोविन्द गोविन्द रथाङ्गपाणि गोविन्द 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 दामोदर माधवेति सुखावसाने त्विदमेव सारं दुःखावसाने त्विदमेव गेयं देहावसाने त्विदमेव जाप्यं गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति दुर्वारवाक्यं परिगृह्य कृष्णा मृगीव भीता तु कथं कथाञ्चित् सभां प्रविष्टा मनसा जुहावा गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति श्रीकृष्ण राधा वरगोकुलेश गोपाल गोवर्धननाथ विष्णु जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति श्रीनाथ विश्वेश्वर विश्वमूर्ते श्रीदेवकीनन्दन दैत्यशत्रु जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोपीपते कंसरिपो मुकुन्द लक्ष्मीपते केशव वासुदेव जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री गोविंद दामोदर स्तोत्रम की जय। श्री बिल्व मंगल ठाकुर की जय। Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Anybody would like to read the translations? 51 to 60?
Yeah, I can go.
Nalan Prabhu? Yes, go ahead, Nalan.
O my tongue, I ask only that open my meeting, the bearer of the scripture of chastisement, Yamaraj, you will utter this sweet phrase with great devotion. Govinda Damodara Madhava, O my tongue, O knower of Rasha, for release from the hellish bondage of material existence, just worship the charming and easily obtained mantra that is chanted by Vedavyasa and the other sages. Govinda Damodara Madhava. You should always and everywhere loudly chant Gopala Vamsidhara, O ocean of beauty, Lord of the worlds, Narayana, O friend of the poor, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava. O my tongue, always worship these beautiful enchanting names of Krishna, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava, which destroy all the obstacles of the devotees. O Govinda, Govinda, Hari, Murari, O Govinda, Govinda, Mukunda, Krishna, O Govinda, Govinda, O holder of the chariot wheel, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava. Indeed, this is the essence found upon seizing the efforts of mundane happiness, and this too is to be sung after the cessation of all suffering. This alone is to be chanted at the time of death of one's material body. Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. Somehow or other accepting the unavoidable command of Dushasana, Draupadi, like a frightened doe, entered the assembly of princes, and within her mind cried out to the Lord, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. O tongue, drink only these nectarian names, Sri Krishna, the dearmost of Sri Radha, Lord of Gokula, Gopala, Lord of Govardhana, Vishnu, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava. Srinatha, Lord the universe from the universe, beautiful son of the Devaki, O enemy of the demons, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava, O my tongue, just drink this nectar. Lord of the Gopis, enemy of Krishna, Mukunda, husband of Lakshmi Devi, Kesava, son of Vasudeva, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava, O my tongue, just drink this nectar. O you who gave
Up to 60 is what we are doing this week.
60, okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nalan Prabhu. All right. Shri Gundam Stotram ki jai. Yes. So we'll transition to Prabhupada Lilamrit. But yeah, yesterday we had a wonderful celebration, the 76th Vyas Puja of His Holiness Radha Govindas Goswami Maharaj. And yes, when we read this prayer, Govinda, 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 is Govinda Damodar Stotram. We're remembering Govinda, Radha Govind Maharaj, and such a wonderful gathering we had, and hearing from His Holiness Anant Krishna Maharaj, who's disciple of Maharaj, and all the other Vaishnavas, the glorification. It was very apt that we are also remembering Krishna, and this is like Evam Parampara Praptam from Krishna, the mercy as Govinda is coming through Radha Govind Maharaj. And yesterday we also read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, our little Krishna has come to California, and Prabhupada named him what? The boss. Karta Mahashay. He's like a Damodar, the little Krishna. And Madhav, of course, means, one who gives all auspiciousness. He's the ocean of nectar, husband of Lakshmi Devi. So he's all auspicious, blesses with auspiciousness. And that's what Prabhupada said. whoever takes up to this process, everything becomes all auspicious for them. They never have to come back in this world again and take birth as any other species. At least they will get, even if they did some progress, some advancement, even if you take some name of the Lord, chant the holy names, you will at least be guaranteed to take human form of life in the next birth. So we'll continue with where Prabhupada is now in San Francisco, and the lessons that he was teaching yesterday was about tolerance, how a devotee is always tolerant. Right, day before we were seeing how he was talking about humility to Lilavati Mataji. He was teaching humility and then tolerance. So these are kind of the abhushan of a Vaishnava, like we say, Titikshava Karunika. He's very tolerant. Prabhupada was saying an advanced devotee is not disturbed by any situation. So we saw how those druggists or people who were on high on LSD and drugs were coming in the morning, and Prabhupada was still remaining steady. His mind was always at the lotus feet of Krishna in his kirtan and in his singing and in his chanting, and that is what he was teaching his disciples. Okay, so we will continue from here. Anybody would like to read today? Then I'll continue. Okay, so let's continue from here. Srila Prabhupada says, yes, those who are spiritually advanced, they are not different from their photograph. Just like here is the statue of Krishna, he is not different from Krishna. The original person Krishna and this statue of Krishna are the same. Just like we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna and the name of Krishna are non-different. Do you realize it? If we are not getting some spiritual enlightenment by chanting Hare Krishna, then do you think we are simply wasting our time? No, we are not wasting our time. We are actually getting spiritual ecstasy because there is no difference. Similarly, a spiritually perfect person and his photograph is the same because it is in the absolute stage. Is that clear? Govindadasi raised her hand. You said that after leaving this body, a person in Krishna consciousness goes to a higher planet? Prabhupada. No. If you make perfection of Krishna consciousness, then after leaving this body, you go directly to Krishna. But if you are not perfect, if you have simply executed a certain percentage only, then you will get the chance of another human body. But one who has understood what is Krishna, how Krishna takes his birth, how Krishna acts, he doesn't get any more material birth. Then where does he go? Tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti sarjana. He comes to me. That means in the supreme abode of Krishna. Therefore, we should be very serious. Why should we wait for another birth, either in very pious family or rich family or another planet? This human body can give you the highest perfection, but we have to be very serious and try for that perfection. But we are not serious. We are not very serious. Actually, human civilization means that people should be very serious to have perfection of this human body. That is perfect human civilization. That is missing at the present moment. Srila Prabhupada sat in silence for several minutes, not moving. Nobody in the audience made a sound. Finally, he reached over for his kartals and began loudly ringing them together and singing, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. And the devotees joined him, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. It was Prabhupada's desire to see his disciples raise their Krishna consciousness to 100% in their present lifetime. They could do it too because the chanting was absolutely potent. If there was something they didn't understand, he would explain it. Govinda Dasi hadn't understood. She had thought that a devotee was meant to go to a higher planet, but now she understood. And he had told them to become more serious. He knew they sometimes went to the donut shop and even smoked cigarettes after kirtans, and he tolerated it. But he let them know that he really wanted them to be completely serious. Unless they were completely serious, they might have to go to a higher planet within the material universe. And what good was that? To rise to a human birth took many lifetimes. Human life was meant for perfection. So they should be serious. But, he said, we are not serious. After the kirtan, Srila Prabhupada left the storefront and returned to his apartment. Hayagriva, turning to Haridas, asked why no one had thrown the crazy boy out. In New York, Hayagriva said, Brahmananda would have removed him at the first outburst. You have to be careful with the hippies here, Haridas explained. Tactful is the word. In this neighborhood, if someone walks around high on LSD, people automatically assume that he is due all the respect of God and should be tolerated. They come in and jump up and down and scream, but we can't lay a hand on them because they are LSD saints. If we had touched that boy this morning, the whole neighborhood would be down on us. The diggers next door are pretty noisy, but they unplug their jukebox during lectures. And they have been very friendly, giving us clothing and helping us decorate the temple. Sometimes the Hells Angels go over there and raise a lot of noise, and sometimes they even come in here. If they do, best to humor them. They are always trouble. That very morning, some Hells Angels started a fight in the digger's store. The devotees could hear thuds and screams through the walls as a big black beat up three Hells Angels. The brawl ended only after a police car and an ambulance arrived. Afterwards, about a dozen people drifted into the temple and talking about the brawl. Harsharani put out extra plates for the guests. One day in March, 18-year-old Wayne Gunderson was walking down the street when a piece of paper blowing along the sidewalk caught on his foot. He tried to kick it off without breaking his stride, but it hung on. Then he stopped and tried to kick it off. He couldn't. He reached down and picked it off and found that it was a flyer, Stay High Forever, advertising lectures by Swami Bhaktivedanta at 518 Frederick Street. Like so many others, Wayne, a mild mannered young man who worked for the post office, had come to Haight Ashbury to take part in the revolution. He attended rock concerts and be-ins, browsed through the books and posters in the psychedelic shops, shared an apartment with his girlfriend and another couple, and took drugs. But he was quiet, polite, and solitary. He didn't dress like a hippie, but wore clean, conservative, casual clothes and a whimsical, odd-looking sports cap. The flyer about the Swami seemed a timely coincidence because Wayne had been planning to go to India to find a guru. He decided to go see Swami Bhaktivedanta on Frederick Street. Wayne was surprised to find only a storefront. He was startled by the picture of the Swami in the window. No smiling, bearded yogi, but a shaven headed Swami with a stern look. Wayne went in. It was a typical Haight Ashbury scene, with hippies sitting around, but there were also a few people with big red beads strung like garlands around their necks. And up front, he saw the Swami. Wayne was impressed as Prabhupada began chanting Hare Krishna, and he found the lecture firm and authoritative. The Swami stressed, We are not these bodies. And when he spoke of Krishna, he described Krishna so personally that it was like being introduced to Krishna. After a few meetings, Wayne got up the nerve to ask a question. Can one practice Hatha Yoga at the same time as Krishna consciousness? Oh, why do you want to spend so much time with that body? Prabhupada replied. And Wayne felt Prabhupada's eyes look deep within him. You are not that body. He said it so strongly that Wayne, who was easily hurt, felt like shrinking into the floor. This body is not as important as the soul, Srila Prabhupada explained. So we shouldn't spend so much time with the body, exaggerating its needs. Then he smiled at Wayne. Besides, all yogas culminate in Krishna consciousness. And Wayne felt that smile lift him completely out of his diminished and crushed condition. Several weeks later, Wayne asked about initiation. When the devotees told him he should go up and see the Swami, Wayne went home and rehearsed his lines first. Anticipating what Prabhupada would say, Wayne prepared his own responses and contrived the whole conversation. Then nervously he approached Prabhupada's door. But before he could even knock, the door opened, and there was Prabhupada looking at him, not sternly as in his picture, but kindly, as if expecting him. Yes, Prabhupada said, come in. The incident completely shattered Wayne's planned approach. He concluded that Swamiji could read minds. So, trying to clear his mind of bad thoughts, he entered Prabhupada's apartment. Prabhupada sat in his rocking chair, and Wayne, who usually sat on the floor, sat in the only other chair in the room. Wayne immediately felt uncomfortable as he realized that it would be more proper to sit at the Prabhupada's feet. But feeling too weak hearted to alter the situation, he kept his seat, nervously fingering his sports cap. Swamiji, he began, I would like to be your disciple. Prabhupada immediately agreed. He asked whether Wayne could follow the four principles, and Wayne, although not even sure what the four principles were, said he could. Prabhupada then asked him what principle was the most difficult for him to follow. Well, he said, I have difficulty with meat eating. A lie, he was a vegetarian. But he was too shy to say that his real problem was uncontrolled sexual desire. Prabhupada laughed. Oh, that's no problem. We will give you prasadam. You can be initiated next week. Wayne then asked if he would be able to go to India. He felt the Swami would be pleased to hear that his new follower wanted to go to his country, but Prabhupada seemed displeased. India? Why India? Wayne thought the real reason he wanted to go to India was to find a guru. Well, he said, to learn Sanskrit. I will teach you Sanskrit, Prabhupada replied. So there was no need to go to India, and he would be initiated by a genuine guru next week, right here in San Francisco. Some devotees helped Wayne prepare for his initiation ceremony. Hayagriva lent Wayne his dhoti, a piece of yellow cloth much too large for Wayne. Devotees set up a sacrificial arena in the storefront, a bed of earth, firewood, colored dyes, and flowers. During the ceremony, Wayne was nervous. When Prabhupada chanted the mantras, Wayne could not hear them exactly, so he just mimicked as best as he could. And when Prabhupada began the fire sacrifice, Wayne felt a little frightened because the initiation seemed such a serious commitment. He watched Prabhupada gravely building the fire and saying the mantras. When Prabhupada initiated Wayne with his new name, Upendra, Wayne didn't hear it clearly and began to worry. Then the ceremony ended and Prabhupada stood up and abruptly left the storefront. Upendra? Someone reminded me that I should go upstairs and give Swamiji an offering, so I decided to give him a baby blanket and a beach towel. It wasn't that I lacked money, but these things had some sentimental value to me, so I wanted to give them to Swamiji. I went upstairs to his room and he was sitting at the foot of his mattress. I came in and bowed down and presented him with the baby blanket and beach towel. He held them up in his fingers and looked at them both in each of his hands. He said, "These things are useless," and he tossed them down on the floor. I was hurt and I had nothing to say. I just sat there. After a while, I excused myself and went back to my apartment. The next day, I went to see Swamiji during his evening visiting time, and he had the beach towel and baby blanket out on the floor like rugs so that his guests would come to visit, who came to visit could have something to sit on. I felt satisfaction that he had found some use for my offerings. Prabhupada said that Upendra was not living up to his vows, since he was still living with his girlfriend. Upendra felt guilty about breaking the principles forbidding illicit sex and intoxication, but he just couldn't follow them. He wanted to tell Swamiji but couldn't bring himself to do it. Besides, he thought, even if he confessed, how could he stop? Upendra's girlfriend didn't like Krishna consciousness, didn't want to meet Swamiji, and didn't want to come to the temple. So Prabhupada decided that instead of marrying Upendra to her, he would save Upendra from her. Prabhupada decided to make Upendra a brahmachari. Although Srila Prabhupada had about 25 San Francisco disciples, hardly any were brahmacharis. Practically the only solid one was Jayananda, who was a little older than the rest. Jayananda worked all day driving a cab, chanting Hare Krishna even while driving, and when he was off work, he would be at the temple, cooking or doing any service he could find or sitting with Prabhupada in his apartment with the other devotees. He was known for his serious japa, sitting cross legged, eyes squeezed tightly shut. He would hold his strand of beads up in both hands and rock forward almost to the floor and back, chanting intensely, oblivious to the outside world. He was serious, and that was the only way one could remain a brahmachari. In New York, Prabhupada had about a dozen brahmacharis, but a more permissive attitude among his followers in San Francisco made brahmachari life more difficult. In the original Vedic society of ancient India, brahmachari life began at the age of 5. Parents would send their son to live with the guru at the Gurukul, where the boy would receive basic education, spiritual instruction, and strict moral discipline under the guru. Even Lord Krishna, in his transcendental pastimes on earth, had attended a Gurukula and very humbly served his spiritual master. The basic principle of brahmachari life was celibacy. By practicing celibacy, the brahmachari would develop great powers of memory and sensory control. And if such a trained brahmachari later decided to take a wife, his sex life would be regulated, not licentious. But although brahmachari life was necessary for a healthy society, Prabhupada had seen within his own lifetime the rapid deterioration of brahmacharya almost to non existence. And in America, the situation was, of course, much worse. Srimad Bhagavatam tells of a young Brahmana, Ajamil, who fell from spiritual life because he had seen a drunken man embracing a half naked prostitute. In America, to see a half naked prostitute in public was not uncommon. As soon as a brahmachari walked out on the street, he would confront so many allurements. But Prabhupada was convinced that brahmacharis could protect themselves even in America if they regularly chanted Hare Krishna and sincerely tried to follow the rules and regulations. Krishna would protect them. Prabhupada decided to ask Upendra to come and live with him as his personal servant. Prabhupada's former servant Ranchor had recently left his position. Although supposedly a brahmachari, he had never been a serious brahmachari. He had even seduced one of the young women devotees in New York. Prabhupada had found out and had asked the girl why she had indulged in sex with Ranchor if she wasn't planning to marry him. Prabhupada's why had so disarmed the girl that she had been unable to answer. Prabhupada had admonished her, "You girls should not make yourselves so cheap," and had given Ranchor another chance. But Ranchor never became serious. After playing the drums during the big Kirtan at the Avalon ballroom, Ranchor had become fascinated with the dance hall. He would sneak out from his service, lie to Prabhupada about his absence, and go looking for girls at the Avalon. One day he never returned. As one of the devotees reported Prabhupada, he just disappeared into the strobe lights. Ranchor did come back once to ask Prabhupada for money so that he could return to his home in New York. Upendra, despite his weakness, was spontaneously attracted to Prabhupada and liked to be with him whenever he could. Sometimes Upendra would go up to the apartment with one or two other devotees and just sit in front of Prabhupada as Prabhupada sat on the thin pillow behind his low desk. Sometimes Prabhupada would continue reading or writing, and Upendra would sit and bask in his presence, simply watching him work. After 10 minutes or so, Prabhupada would look up and say, "All right, that is enough," and the boys would bow and leave. Upendra would also go to see Prabhupada taking his lunch, and Prabhupada would take some rice and vegetable from his plate, put them on a chapati, and offer them to Upendra. Although the prasadam was similar to the prasadam devotees ate downstairs, Upendra thought that it tasted much better. Okay, 6:27. We can stop here for today. Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody would like to share anything? Anything that you liked from today's reading? Okay, while you think, a couple of things that came to my mind, where, of course, I think Prabhupada again is talking about the seriousness of following. And if we are serious and we really have the desire, because that is the desire is all that the soul can have. If we have a strong desire, then we can go back to Krishna in this lifetime. Yeah, I always used to wonder. Like when I was a kid in school, I wrote a poem, and that was my first poem that I wrote. It was like a competition in school, and I got the first prize for that. But it was like a, when I remember now, it is very strange. I was actually thinking about this few weeks ago, um, and it, it was like a horse racing or something like that, if I remember correctly. It was a horse race, and there was a picture of a horse, like the jockeys on horse racing, and we had to write a poem on that. And so I remember writing my first poem, and it was a strong desire to succeed. But that was the strong desire to succeed in the material world. That is what it was at that time. But here, when Prabhupada talks about the strong desire of the soul, then it is to actually be in the service of the Lord, always serving, always endeavoring to serve the Lord. So then Prabhupada says that, if we are, then we don't even have to go to spiritual abode, right? Wherever we are, that becomes Goloka, that becomes Vaikuntha, because the Lord is always in his devotees' hearts. So, but yes, that seriousness, that sincerity, that intensity has to be there. And if we desire, then we can actually go back just in this lifetime itself and achieve perfection. Like Govinda Dasi Mataji was asking about going to higher planets, but he was saying, no, there's no need to go to higher planets. We've already been going back and forth into these planets, but our aim should be to achieve perfection of this life, in this lifetime itself. And yeah, the example of Jayananda um, Brahmachari that was given reminded me when we heard about, he is called the first saint in our movement, because he was so determined and so humble and serious, and so compassionate. Like we see here, it was brief mention was given about him, that he used to drive a cab and then come back and then help in services at the temple, in cooking, cleaning, etc. And he was the one who helped in the first Jagannath Rath Yatra. So this chapter is titled New Jagannath Puri, and how apt it is that in this month of Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra, we are reading this chapter and about this wonderful first saint of ISKCON, whose picture is put on even today on all our Jagannath Rath Yatras, along with Srila Prabhupada's picture. So, but yeah, that is the intensity, that is the seriousness that we can learn from such wonderful disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything? Shama Karuna Mataji, Anandani Mataji, anything from your side?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. I think he sacrificed so much and he was very, very much devoted and dedicated. And that is why even, what's the name of the Maharaj? He became his disciple. He became a big devotee because of his humbleness and his kindness. Many people joined ISKCON because of Jayananda Prabhuji.
Yeah. And here Prabhupada says he was the first brahmachari. In New York, it was so easy to make brahmacharis. He had dozen disciples, but here everybody was still into drugs and illicit relationships. And yeah, we see a pure devotee of the Lord comes. Prabhupada is there, and then yes, he can attract another pure devotee. And yeah, Malati Mataji very, very nicely glorified him when she came last year to our Sims Township Center. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, this is perfect in this month of Jagannath Rath Yatra. We are reading this chapter of New Jagannath Puri and the first Rath Yatra. Hopefully, we'll be able to read that in the coming sections of this chapter. So, yes, and yes, of course, all disciples of Srila Prabhupada, like I was mentioning earlier yesterday, we had a very wonderful celebration, Vyas Puja of His Holiness Radha Govind Goswami Maharaj at Nandakumar Prabhu's home in Kentucky, and under the auspicious guidance of His Holiness Anant Krishna Swami Maharaj and Adi Gadadhar Prabhu had come from Atlanta, and many other Vaishnavas from other parts of the country. Some were all online, and Srila Prabhupada's mercy across, like he's like a sun, like I say, he's like a sun, and then all his glorious disciples are like his sun rays. And yeah, Radha Govind Das Goswami Maharaj is like a personification of Bhagavatam. Like there's a Granth Bhagavat, and then there's a Sant Bhagavat. He's a Sant Bhagavat, and his glories are unlimited. How much ever we may glorify him, but Prabhupada wanted, like I was just telling in my glorification yesterday, that like when we were reading Prabhupada, Prabhupada said a few days ago, and when we were reading that, when he came here to San Francisco, he was saying, we should open more and more centers, right? And so by Radha Govind Maharaj's mercy in Cincinnati, when he visited many years ago, he told Nandkumar Prabhu, when they got initiated, that everybody in your family is a devotee. So he had already foreseen, like how Prabhupada could foresee here. They have that vision, spiritual vision, and today we see after years, not just their Nandkumar Prabhu's immediate family, but even his grandchildren, everybody in the family, everybody is such a nice devotee, and they practice bhakti with such nice humility and tolerance, like we have been reading now, these qualities. Otherwise everybody in the world, like people who have that much money, they become bhogis, right? But this family is really like they are family of yogis, and their yogadan to our Cincinnati has been tremendous. So yogadan also means like combination of yogi and yoga and dan. So their yoga is immense, with such humility, despite having so much of abundance of wealth, they have been blessed by the Lord, but they're using that in the service of the Lord. And all our centers that we have in Cincinnati, like Prabhupada said, we should have many, many centers. And all these centers that we have opened, we have not one, not two, we have three centers. And in all of those, there have been a significant Yogdan contribution from Nandkumar Prabhuji and his family. So we are grateful. But again, it is all the mercy of His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj. Just like Prabhupada's mercy, flows through his devotees, evam parampara praptam. Similarly, Maharaj's blessings and mercy flows in Cincinnati through his disciples. And yeah, we are very, very blessed that we are part of this movement of Srila Prabhupada and this wonderful family and all his wonderful disciples and now the grandchildren. You know, it's like a big tree that Srila Prabhupada has planted in New York, like we are saying of ISKCON, this Krishna Consciousness Society. And now we have so many wonderful branches and saplings and, you know, the flowers and fruits that we are able to taste of this wonderful tree when we get in association with our fellow devotees from this moment. So, yeah. Thank you, Mataji. All right, anybody else would like to say anything?
We are good, Prabhu, today.
Yes, Narayan Prabhu.
No, we are good. Today, like we already discussed, like the desires. I mean, we knew that desire is not good, but the desire which is for the soul to get released from this incarnation is better than not having material desire. So as you said, yogi is like when we'll become yogi with our karma, like the karma yogi, rather than only doing karma, that will bring the bhogi was. But when we'll make our service to God and service for God, right, that karma becomes yogi. Like that is karma yoga. So that's what I'm thinking. Like
Yes.
yoga means like union with the God. Same karma will do, but the outcome of that karma becomes union to God rather than bhogi.
Yes. Yeah, that's the difference between karma kandi and karma yogi. Karma kandi is have a selfish desire to enjoy, the fruits of their labor. This is karma yogis. They use everything in the Lord's service. All of their activities are dovetailed in the service of the Lord. Yes, that is the process of yoga, communion with God. Thank you, Nalan Prabhu. Thank you, dear devotees. Okay, so we'll pause here for today. Thank you for the prayers. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा।
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna.